Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Retirement, and where to invest your life savings. For many, it is the most important financial decision you'll ever make. The problem is, with so many people with so many opinions on where to invest your money in retirement, the real question is, who can you trust? And how do you know for sure that the advisor you are considering handing over your life savings to is going to be working in your best interest? Well, today, we have the privilege of hearing from nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author, Tony Walker, who for more than 20 years has built a process dedicated to helping savers worry less about money. It is called the Worry-Free Retirement Process. And today, you'll learn how Tony Walker Financial and their proprietary planning process is helping thousands of savers enjoy a worry-free retirement. During our last interview, you had just written this book, Live Well, Die Broke, which I understand has truly resonated with savers. And since that time, 2 more new books have been published about your firm, The Worry-Free Retirement Process, and another publication authored by well-known author Gary West that chronicles your life's work leading up to the creation of Tony Walker Financial, called Expect the Best. Tell me about them.
Well, for sure, Diane, Live Well, Die Broke was a game changer for many savers in search of an advisor who could help them spend and enjoy their money. You see, what I've found is most savers have been put on what I call the guilt trip gospel because the financial world does not want them to spend this money. Live Well, Die Broke reminds savers that you can't take it with you and that you need to enjoy the money before it's too late. Now, the book, The Worry-Free Retirement Process, is my first book written that really gets into the details of what we do at Tony Walker Financial, how the products interact with the retirement game plan, and then we have various forms and worksheets the client can use to assist them in planning for retirement. And of course, finally, on the screen here we have it. This next book that we wrote, Expect the Best, was actually written by Gary West, a personal friend and author of 18 books, as he chronicles my life, my passion, and how that passion was woven into Tony Walker Financial. Now, this book will be very helpful to read for those who truly want a personal relationship with a local firm that truly cares about them.
On your TV show and in your commercials, you warn savers about the year 2025, possibly eroding their retirement savings. What is the significance of 2025?
Well, in 2025, some of the lowest tax rates in the history of this country will, let me repeat, they will expire. And while nobody can predict what Congress is going to do when they expire, most experts, including myself, feel that the easiest thing to do is for Congress to just simply let them roll back to the 2017 rates, which means for those with at least $250,000 in retirement assets, you're going to be paying more in taxes, which is why I encourage people to contact us before 2025. In other words, get a game plan in place now to see how we can reduce taxes now versus waiting for them to go up later.
With these current low tax rates expiring in 2025, what can savers do now to prepare for them possibly going up in the future?
Well, first and foremost, you have to have a written game plan in place before rushing to strategies pitched by the financial world to save on taxes. But there's lots of options we can explore with savers, things like Roth conversions. There's something called qualified charitable distributions, or QCDs, accelerating distributions now by staying in lower tax brackets, and even gifting money to family members now rather than waiting to leave it to them after you die. So we can assist savers in thinking through their options now rather than putting off those tax rates and potentially higher rates in the future.
So, Tony, with our nation's debt continuing to climb, what do you think the government will do to pay it off? I mean, where might they get the money to attack our national debt problems?
Well, let's face it, if I were a politician and trying to find money to pay down on debt, I would turn to the trillions of dollars that savers currently have stockpiled in these 401k plans, 403b plans, IRAs, thrift savings accounts, and even lump sum pensions, Diane, that have not been taxed. I mean, these funds are just sitting there waiting for Congress to get their hands on them. And I'm telling you, in the swoop of a pen, they can change those tax laws immediately.
Long before most advisors talked about annuities, you have always been a big proponent of annuities. In fact, you wrote a book specific to annuities. Lately, I'm hearing more and more positive information about annuities. What has led others to agree with you on annuities?
Well, Diane, one of the greatest fears of retirees is running out of money, and as much as Wall Street and others hate to admit it, our annuities are the only financial tool that can guarantee you won't run out of money. And now that savers are demanding these annuities, many advisors and big financial institutions are realizing that if they don't offer annuities, they're going to lose clients, and of course, they will lose assets, and that affects their bottom line. So yes, you're going to hear a lot more positive news about annuities. So my suggestion, the next time someone talks to you about an annuity, get a second opinion from us before ever purchasing that annuity.
You speak to the fact that many advisors are not fiduciaries. Why is it so important for retirees and those planning for retirement to work with a fiduciary?
Well, a fiduciary by definition is someone who is obligated to work in your best interest. So if you had to choose between an advisor who is not required by law to work in your best interest versus someone who is, my thoughts, why not go with the advisor who is required to work in your best interest? Problem is, Diane, many advisors are flying under the radar. They're violating these regulations by not getting registered.
Why do I see so many advertisements to buy gold? And is gold something a saver should invest in?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned gold, Diane. There's a funny story, and it's a true story. I was doing a seminar years ago up in southern Indiana, and an older gentleman came up to me after the seminar, and he wanted me to look at his stuff, and he had written down on a piece of paper all of this money in various high-flying stocks, and had done very well. And at the bottom of the sheet, it said $400,000 or whatever it was in cash. And I said, "Sir, this seems odd. You've got all this money in stocks, which is very risky, and you've done well. And why would you have so much money in cash?" To which he responded, "I sold all my gold." Which I asked, "Why did you sell all your gold?" And he looked at me like I was crazy. He said this, "Diane, because everybody's buying it." So what that means is the older gentleman was correct. Everybody's selling gold. And I always say, okay, if all these people selling gold, if gold's so valuable, why are they selling their gold? And you got to ask yourself, are you possibly buying gold at a very high price? So let the buyer beware. Did you realize that if you have more than $250,000 in retirement assets, the government could tax as much as 40% of it when you go to take it out? And with current tax rates set to expire in 2025, the taxes you will owe on your 401k could climb even higher. Don't wait until 2025 to see how much Uncle Sam will take of your money. Get a game plan by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com. With the uncertainty of the stock market, our nation's debt spiraling out of control, and inflation running rampant, now may be the best time to consider moving your 401k to safer territory. My name is Tony Walker, and for over 38 years I've made it my life's mission to help savers worry less about money, and I want to help you too. To speak with me at no cost or obligation, why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or simply call the toll-free number on your screen.
We trust you are enjoying this interview with the author and creator of The Worry-Free Retirement, Tony Walker. If you are retired or retiring soon, maybe have a former 401k with a previous employer, or if you are that person who has recently received an inheritance or other form of lump sum payment that you need to turn into guaranteed income, I invite you to go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and take advantage of talking to the owner of the company by phone. That's right, Tony Walker, or give him a call at 877-499-9255. And now, we return to our interview with Tony in progress. What is the difference between your firm, Tony Walker Financial, and a money manager, stockbroker, or even an insurance agent who sells annuities?
Well, Diane, first and foremost, we are retirement planning specialists. Our job is not to try to grow your money at all costs, but rather make sure you are enjoying and protecting your money at the least amount of cost.
For an independent planning firm, you have a lot of staff, many of whom are not advisors, but what you refer to as service experts. Is it necessary to employ so many people, and doesn't that hurt the profits you as the owner should be making for yourself?
Well, you're right, Diane. If you look at most firms, there are as many advisors as there are what we would say administrative assistants or service professionals. In fact, many of our new prospects come to us because they are receiving poor service from their advisors. So years ago, I decided not to let this happen. This is why I spend so much money on staff, and all of our fiduciaries are salaried. They do not earn commissions, which means we are here to serve the needs of our clients, period.
Besides all the free dinner seminar mailers I receive, I recently received an invitation to attend a financial workshop held at a local university. Are these workshops sponsored by the universities that host them, and what can I expect if I attend one?
What's interesting you mentioned that there's a lot of this type of thing going on where advisors will host workshops on university campuses, and quite frankly, they have nothing to do with the university, nor are these universities endorsing them, but they kind of appear to be that way. So in terms of what to expect if you do attend one of these so-called university workshops or whatever, these instructors of these classes are not college professors, but they are advisors, and they are going to try to sell you something following these workshops. So all I can say is if you attend one of these, fine, but before you rush out and buy anything, get a second opinion from somebody like us at Tony Walker Financial.
Your firm does something very unusual: client appreciation events. This past year, you held 4 events specifically for your clients. Why do you take the time and the money to do these events?
Well, our theme this year at our client appreciation events, Diane, is this: who brought you to the dance? And what I mean by that is if you think about your life and where you've come from, there is always someone else who brought you to the dance. In other words, without them, you wouldn't have been at the dance in the first place. So for me personally, I'm so grateful for the success of Tony Walker Financial, but without the clients trusting us to handle their money, we wouldn't be here. In other words, it is the clients who brought us to the dance, and we want them to know how much we appreciate their business. It really is that simple.
Tony, inflation is through the roof, and there is a lot of talk of the dollar crashing and tons of uncertainty about the stock market. Where are you suggesting retirees invest their money to be more worry-free?
Well, I think it was Mark Twain who once said, history may not repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And in my nearly 40 years in this business, Diane, I've seen this playbook before. Everyone says the sky is falling, while at the same time, they're trying to figure out how to make money off your money by creating fear in the hearts and minds of, well, scared people. So my suggestion is first get a plan, work with someone you trust, and assuming you are a saver and more concerned with the return of your money as opposed to the return on it, stay diversified, get guaranteed investments like short-term bonds, annuities, bank products, take a little bit of risk, yeah, but be careful about risking all of your money in the stock market. That to me is how you quell these fears and create less worry.
With all of your recognition and expertise in the field of retirement planning, have you ever thought of taking your unique philosophy on money and expand your business to other parts of the country?
Actually, Diane, it's funny you mentioned that because years ago I considered doing, through a national marketing firm, quite frankly, expanding our business throughout the country instead of just focusing on Kentucky and southern Indiana. In fact, they had agents from all over the country come in to Kentucky so I could train them. But here's what I found. There are so many savers right here that need our help. And rather than spread myself too thin around the country, I decided years ago to stay here at home, watch over the growth of my business, and make sure that the obligations to take care of our clients are taken care of and that Tony Walker is in fact in touch with those clients. And we're doing a very good job of that. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today.
My name is Mark Williams, and I've been in the financial services industry for around 30 years now. I'm the CEO and president of Brokers International in Des Moines, Iowa. At Brokers International, to put it simply, we help agencies and financial professionals grow their business. We offer live support, digital tools and services, and several ways to submit both annuity and life insurance applications. Right now, we service around 4,500 financial professionals nationwide. The one thing I continually see with the successful financial professionals that we work with is that they have a repeatable process of doing business and providing service to their customers. Tony Walker is one example of those financial professionals that utilizes a repeatable process. We started providing our services to Tony and his firm a few years ago. I think what makes him so successful is that he's got such a well-oiled machine, a process that he's created himself. In fact, I flew my team out to Kentucky so we could see it face to face how Tony consistently provides that service. When it comes to his process, I found that one thing Tony does really well is hire more service professionals to help him so that he can continue to see and help more people. Tony has figured out that in order to service thousands of clients with top-notch service, you have to have a process, a way to duplicate what you do day in and day out. I'd invite you to give a call to Tony Walker.
We trust you are enjoying this interview with the author and creator of The Worry-Free Retirement, Tony Walker. If you are retired or retiring soon, maybe have a former 401k with a previous employer, or if you are that person who has recently received an inheritance or other form of lump sum payment that you need to turn into guaranteed income, I invite you to go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and take advantage of talking to the owner of the company by phone. That's right, Tony Walker, or give him a call at 877-499-9255. And now, we return to our interview with Tony in progress. Years ago, you received this letter from one of your clients encouraging you to hire more staff to help you in your mission to help more savers worry less about money. How did that letter impact you?
Well, first of all, he saw what I was doing, where my heart was, and trying to help all these savers as much as I could. But I think he recognized that, yeah, that's fine, Tony. You can continue to work as hard as you can, but you got to get some good people helping you. And those words of encouragement, Diane, I think is what really took the business to the next level. And I'm so thankful for the staff we have and all the help they provide our savers.
You grew up in a lower middle class family, lived through parents divorcing when you were 10 years old, and as a result, spent a lot of time in your youth with your grandparents. How did spending time with your grandparents affect you in terms of your perspective on money and retirement?
Well, it is funny. My granddad was from that generation that came out of the Depression. He was born in 1914. At the age of 18, he began climbing telephone poles with Bell South, and he stayed with that same company, Diane, until his retirement in 1978, which for most workers back then, that's what you did. You stayed with the same company as long as you could, tried to keep your nose clean, and for that service, they rewarded you with something called a pension. That's right, and my granddad called it mailbox money. So Granddad kept things simple. He was not frivolous with money. He knew what he needed, and more importantly, he made sure that he had the amount of money coming in the front door to exceed what was going out the back door. He was very, very good at handling money. And as a result, I watched him be worry-free in retirement. And what I've tried to do is duplicate that process for our clients, providing mailbox money so that they won't run out of money. Plus, they've got an advisor that can help them keep track of things.
You got into this business at age 24. And now I got to assume that you could retire if you wanted to. So why do you keep working this hard and putting in all the hours that you do?
Funny, a friend and former colleague of mine who is 10 years my senior and retired asked me the other day, Don, he said, "Why are you still working, Tony? And what in the world are you trying to do? You're trying to buy Kentucky." That was his joke. But I guess it's hard for me to explain to others in my business who are working to retire, and that's fine if they want to retire, but I don't think they understand how passionate I am about the business and taking care of our clients. I don't want to be away traveling all over the world right now, and I feel that my clients need me. I feel the staff needs me. And to be quite frankly, I just enjoy what I'm doing and very thankful I can do what I do.
So with that said, when do you think you might retire?
Well, never if I can help it. At least not in the traditional sense we think of retirement and just quit working. So my thoughts right now at this stage of my life, why retire from something that I love doing? And of course, I get paid well to do it. Now, for sure, I'm noticing I cannot go at the pace I used to run, but overall, I still see 20 to 30 savers a week and enjoy what I'm doing. So no, Diane, I have no plans to retire anytime soon. Who can you trust? It's one of the most important decisions you'll have to make. Question is, are you ready? Well, we're here to help at Tony Walker Financial. You know, we care more about you than we do your money, and we have over 2,000 happy clients and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau to prove it. Rolling over a 401k, confused about Social Security, maybe you're afraid of running out of money. Learn how to use and enjoy and protect your hard-earned money. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started. Wondering how much money you'll need to retire? Probably a lot less than you think. I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, and for the past 36 years, I've helped thousands of savers determine when to retire and how much money they'll need in retirement, and I can help you too. To meet in person at no cost or obligation, let me invite you to log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call the toll-free number on your screen. We look forward to talking with you soon.
We trust you are enjoying this interview with the author and creator of The Worry-Free Retirement, Tony Walker. If you are retired or retiring soon, maybe have a former 401k with a previous employer, or if you are that person who has recently received an inheritance or other form of lump sum payment that you need to turn into guaranteed income, I invite you to go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and take advantage of talking to the owner of the company by phone. That's right, Tony Walker, or give him a call at 877-499-9255. And now, we return to our interview with Tony in progress. Realizing you are a big part of Tony Walker Financial, I am sure our audience is wondering, what happens to TWF when something happens to you?
This is true. In fact, years ago when I used to host public seminars, this was a frequent question from the audience. At the very end, they would always ask it, what happens to Tony Walker Financial when, not if, when something happens to you? And quite frankly, 10 years ago, I'm not sure if Tony Walker Financial would have survived if something were to happen to me. But now I feel very confident that Tony Walker Financial will survive and thrive whenever I can no longer do what I'm doing right now.
You always say that having a written retirement game plan in place first is more important than the financial product one might choose to invest in for retirement. Why is this written game plan so important?
Well, let me answer your question with a question. Would you ever take a road trip to a far-off destination without a road map? Well, neither should a saver enter the world of retirement without some sort of financial roadmap, which is what I've spent years to perfect. This proprietary software that no other advisor possesses, and I know this, Diane, because I created it. And not only do our clients get this free roadmap, our staff is there to guide savers along the way as changes are going to come their way in retirement. So it's a wonderful thing, and it is proprietary to Tony Walker Financial.
You have nearly 40 years of experience in the field of finance. You've met in person with over 15,000 savers. You've personally overseen more than 5,000 written game plans and have more than 3,000 clients, many of whom are well into retirement age. After all this time and all this experience, what would you say is the biggest mistake retirees make with their money?
Well, this might come as a surprise, Diane, but really I think the biggest mistake all of these savers I've worked with over the years have made is they waited too long to spend and enjoy their money. So I call this phenomenon the three halves of life, and what the financial world has duped savers into thinking that as we get older, we've got to keep saving and saving and saving because one day we're going to need it, right? We might run out of money or we get tossed in a nursing home or whatever. But what I've found in personally working with so many savers is that as they move through retirement and get into what I call the second half of life, in other words, as they get older, they begin to spend less and less money as a consequence of the aging process. So what I would say is, why wait to not spend and enjoy your money now, and don't wait till it's too late? We can help you, show you how to do that at Tony Walker Financial. We do this for people all the time, and we want to show you how to use and enjoy that money now versus later.
Let's talk about something you call the onboarding process, that time when a prospective client has gone through your steps, seen the game plan you provide, and then decides to become a client of Tony Walker Financial and wishes to move their money over to your company. That has got to be a daunting task for the saver.
So after we go through our process with prospective clients and see the detail of our planning process and how they can get their things organized, then it is really up to them to decide if they want to move forward. And of course, if they say, well, yeah, I think we're wanting to move forward, one of the first questions when they do decide to move forward is whether or not they're going to have to do all the paperwork. Are they going to have to contact the 401k plan or a prior advisor or something? I mean, these can be uncomfortable moments thinking about doing all this. It's a very daunting task. Here's the bottom line. We take care of all the details, all the paperwork, and we will contact your current custodians, advisors. We'll do it all. We'll handle all of the transfers. We'll take care of everything. You don't worry about that.
Tony, I realize you are well known around the country for your work in annuities. Yet there's more to Tony Walker Financial than just annuities, right?
You're right, Diane. There's much more to what we do than just annuities. In fact, we are a full-service retirement planning firm. We offer stocks, bonds, mutual funds, bank products such as CDs and money markets. We offer those through our Charles Schwab platform. In fact, as of the date of this interview, we have more than 2,000 investment accounts with Charles Schwab, totaling more than $220 million under management. And we do all that in-house at Tony Walker Financial, as well as a world of knowledge that we have in long-term care insurance, life insurance, Medicare supplements, and of course, our expertise in the world of annuities. So yes, we're certainly more than just annuities.
Well, Tony, this has been very interesting, and I'm sure there are savers out there interested in speaking to you and your team further about your services. What's the best way for folks to get in touch with Tony Walker Financial?
Well, that's the easy part. In fact, Diane, we've created something called the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call, and here's how this works. They can go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. There's a little red box there. You just click on that red box. Then our office will contact you and set up a free phone call with myself, Tony Walker, the owner of the company, to see if we can be of help. If we can be of help, of course, we're going to meet you in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices, either myself or one of our highly trained salaried fiduciaries. So that's all you got to do. If you're not comfortable going on the internet and entering information, you can certainly give us a call at the number on your screen.
We trust you have enjoyed our interview with retirement planning specialist Tony Walker. At this point, we invite you to take advantage of talking in person with one of the most knowledgeable and experienced retirement planners in the industry. Someone who has personally met with over 15,000 savers and overseen more than 5,000 written retirement game plans. Tony Walker. To set up your free 10-minute fiduciary phone call with Tony, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on that little red button, and his office will be in touch to arrange your phone call. And then, if it warrants, either Tony or one of his highly trained salaried fiduciaries will be happy to meet with you at either their Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. Internet not your thing? No worries. Simply call their offices anytime at 877-499-9255. And remember, there is no cost or obligation to meet with Tony. We look forward to hearing from you.